Hey guys, it's Health Coach Karen here, and in today's video I thought I would talk about cultivating self-compassion. In my last video I talked about 3 sets of habits that will help you get to the state of health and body that you want. And those 3 habits have to do with your physical body, with your mind and your thinking, and the last set of habits that I talked about were about your emotional habits. And I feel that emotions are so overlooked when it comes to health and wellness and physical fitness and like diet and nutrition. And I thought I'd talk about that because I feel like it's really substantial. Your body, your mind, and your emotions are all interconnected together, so it's valid. So here are 13 tips on how to cultivate self-compassion so that you can ultimately get the body and health and happiness that you want. So here we go. And by the way, I took some notes and I put them on the side here, so every once in a while I'll be reading off of them because I can't just keep track of them all in my mind. There's 13, there's a lot. First tip is to, and I mentioned this in my last video, is to be an inner parent to your inner child. So like in my last video, I talked about everybody has this voice within them that is like their inner child. And this voice is reactive and is saying things like, I have to eat clean, I have to eat this diet, I have to work out 5 days a week, I have to go running 5 miles, and it's like this reactive sort of voice, this notion within you that's kind of like agitated and scared. And to me, that is like this inner child that's like sad. And to address that is to become this inner parent also, like this higher aspect of yourself that observes that sees that about yourself. And this is why everything that I'm doing is catered to the self-aware perfectionist, because sometimes if you're a perfectionist, you're not aware of that, or at least yet. But address that self-aware part of yourself as the inner parent to the inner child, and dialogue with the inner child. Ask the inner child, what does it need? What is it feeling? How can you show it love and be catering to it? So just be this like very kind, loving inner parent that's soothing to this inner child. And this kind of leads me to tip number 2, which is to talk to yourself as if you were talking to a friend. And I say this because I think it's so commonplace to be nice to all the people around us except ourselves, where we are the hardest, most critical on ourselves. Yet when somebody else near us is being hard on themselves, it's like you're so nice. Let me own it. I'll speak personally. I'm so nice to other people around me and doing my best to be their motivator and cheer them on, whereas I am so hard on myself oftentimes. And this is a process, and I feel that this YouTube channel is kind of me learning and taking the stuff that I learn and just bringing it out into the world. So yeah, talk to yourself as if you're talking to a friend. And a researcher who I love who recommends doing this is Brene Brown. She talks about shame a lot, and she has so much insight. Just Google her TED Talk. She has a great book called Daring Greatly. She came out with another book that I can't remember the name of, but they're all great. And she talks about shame a lot, which is where I think perfectionism stems from. So yeah, check her out, Brene Brown. She's great. Third tip is to just slow down and be mindful. And I think when you're sort of being very reactive and thinking that you have to do, it's a little excruciating to just slow down. But when you slow down, even when you're performing actions, like say that you're washing the dishes, just slow down and wash slower. Like, feel the water on your hands and be mindful of like what's happening around you. Like, use your senses, like be really focused in what's happening in the very present moment. And when you do this, you start cultivating this like inner dialogue of like, what am I feeling right now, and why am I feeling it, and how is this feeling even coming to me? When you slow down and be mindful, it's kind of like a moving meditation. But when you do that, I feel that this like inner dialogue between your inner parent and your inner child, or between yourself and the part of yourself that is your friend, it becomes stronger. And you could also meditate, which is, just the next step to slowing down and being mindful, which is just, meditation is just the easiest thing in the world, yet at the same time it's the hardest, because you're just literally doing nothing. Just sit down for 5 minutes and pay attention to your breath. And that's what meditation is. You just pay attention to your breath, and when you start thinking your thoughts, or you start noticing your thoughts, and then I guess I'll do a video on what meditation is and how to meditate, because I think I might be like over explaining. But basically with meditation, you just listen to your breath and you take note of your thoughts. And then when you think your thoughts and then you realize you're thinking them, you say, oh, I'm thinking a thought. I'm going to go back to listening to my breath. And that's it. It's so easy. But, people think meditation is like being some yoga master on top of a mountain, when really it's just doing nothing. So tip number 4 is to ask yourself what brings you joy. And when you find what brings you joy, go do it. Go treat yourself. And some ideas on this are to like go to a spa, take a nice bath, cook a really nice dinner for yourself, decorate the plate, make it look beautiful, make it look like something from a high-end restaurant, have like some candles with your dinner, just be nice to yourself and treat yourself with joy. There's this really funny episode of Parks and Recreation where Aziz Ansari and Donna, the woman who plays Donna, they have a day where they treat themselves, and they like have a little song where it's like, yeah, it's the day, it's treat yourself day. And I forget exactly what they say, but they like eat steak dinners and eat ice cream and like ride around in a limo, I forget exactly, have champagne, they buy fine leather goods. I'm not saying to be financially irresponsible, but I'm saying, find ways with your own discretion to be nice to yourself and give yourself these gifts, these things that you want. It's okay to give yourself a gift to yourself. So that's one way to be compassionate to yourself, is to just treat yourself. And another thing, I can't remember exactly everything about this, but take yourself out on inner child dates. And I get this idea from this woman named Julia Cameron. She writes a book called The Artist's Way, and she talks about on a weekly basis, I can't quite remember, but she talks about taking your inner child out on a date. You ask your inner child what he or she wants to do, and you go do it. Excuse me. So yeah, go do it. Tip number 5 is to thank yourself. When you do these nice things for yourself, it's so easy to just be like, yeah, I'm doing this nice thing for myself, now I gotta go take care of this other business. But take a pause and thank yourself, like literally like dialogue in your own mind and say like, thank you for doing this one thing for yourself. Like, I appreciate it so much, and I love it, and I love you. So it might be a little tough for a perfectionist to say that, but when you practice it, it gets easier. And smile to yourself while you're thanking yourself too. That's like step 2 if you want. Tip number 6 is to write a gratitude journal specifically towards yourself. And it could be a whole page, it could be one sentence, but start making this a habit to write gratitude towards yourself. You could write gratitude towards everything else, but be sure to include yourself within the gratitude of the things that you do for yourself and you do for other people, and you'll start feeling this self-compassion within you grow. Tip number 7 is to write a thank you note to yourself, and this is very similar to writing a gratitude journal. But thank you notes, they're just in a different format. They could be pretty and stationary. But yeah, when you write a thank you note to yourself, it has like the same qualities as writing a gratitude journal about yourself. And the next step further would be to write a love letter to yourself. And whenever you feel down, just read it. It'll get you feeling better, and that self-compassion fire within you will grow, will burn even more. So tip number 8 is to really focus on joy. What brings you joy and I know I said this in terms of treating yourself, but also fill up your environment with joy. There is this wonderful tidying up process called the KonMari method, and the woman who wrote this, she wrote I always forget the name of the book. It's I'll write the book down in below because I can't remember the name of the book, but she talks about organization and or not organization, she talks about tidying up, and the process in which you tidy up is through the use of joy. And you basically touch everything that you own and you ask yourself, does this spark joy? And if it does spark joy, then you keep the item. And if it does not spark joy, then you thank it for its service, and then you send it out to whoever it needs to be sent to, like the thrift store or the trash can or the recycling bin. But basically when you fill your environment with joy, you feel better, you feel more joyful. And I think I want to do another video about this when it comes to the KonMari method, because it has helped me, and I think it has developed, not only has it developed and cultivated this sense of self-joy for myself or self-compassion for myself, but I think it has really strengthened my intuition, this dialogue between my inner child and my inner parent. I feel that the intuition within me is so much stronger after having done this process. So I think I'm going to do a video on that later on. So when it comes to filling up your environment with joy, think about decor, but also think about the music and media that you fill yourself up with. Listen to things that you like. I heard that listening to music that you heard as a kid and as a teenager, there's something about it that resonates with people and fills them up with more joy. So maybe give that a try. And also when it comes to media, I'm thinking mostly about videos, movies, TV shows, and YouTube videos. Also podcasts, things that you listen to, the radio. Find the types of media that spark joy within you. So watch inspirational movies, watch YouTube videos that you enjoy, and I hope this is one of them. Yeah, just do stuff like that. Brainstorm, use your creativity. What brings you joy? Really ask yourself that, and go do it. Go fill up your home with it. Go watch it, listen to it, and when you start taking care of yourself a lot, you're going to start really seeing a change within you, and your health is affected by it. So tip number 9 is to surround yourself with people who will reinforce this self-compassion for yourself. You are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, so make sure that the 5 people that you most hang out with are kind, loving, good people who will nurture you. And not to be all KonMari method with everything, but when it comes to relationships that are toxic for you, you know, in your mind, just thank the person for the service that they gave to you. Maybe in the beginning of your relationship it was good, but now if it's toxic, you have to let those people go and send them out. And, you know, just, you know, in your mind, like, thank them for everything that they've done for you, and then just don't call them for brunch anymore. So tip number 10 is this breathing exercise called Tonglen. And I did a video on this some time ago, so I'll link to it here. I can do that now because my YouTube channel has grown a little bit. But Tonglen is basically this breathing exercise that when you breathe in, you think of all the people on the planet who are feeling the exact same way that you're feeling. Like, say you're feeling frustrated about your body. You know, there's tons of people who feel frustrated about their body. I want to say like 80% of the population feels some sort of frustration with their body. So you take a deep breath in and think about them and feel this compassion towards them. Like, it sucks because you know exactly what they're going through, and you include that that compassion for them to yourself as well. You, like, they're a group of people, but you're also part of that group. So make sure that you're giving compassion to the entire group. And then when you breathe out this, like, sense of it's gonna be okay, you know? I honestly can't remember exactly all the details on Tonglen, but if you just Google it, or you can reference the video that I did, or if you Google Pema Chodron, I think she was the person who either created it or brought it to light. So yeah, do some research on Tonglen and try it out for yourself, and let me know if it has helped you in the comments below. So tip number 11 is to forgive yourself. So often perfectionists are so mean to ourselves, and we are so hard on ourselves, and we put so much pressure, and when we don't, you know, live up to the standards of what we want, which are like overly high standards oftentimes, we beat ourselves up. So find a way to forgive yourself. And one of the processes that I recommend is the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I hope I'm saying that right. It's this Hawaiian prayer. It's like a prayer and meditation mantra, affirmation. But basically you say these phrases to yourself and feel them. And the phrases are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And you say those kind of over and over again. I'm pretty sure there's a process to it, but I haven't done enough research, I guess, to explain that. So definitely, if I gave you another thing to Google is to Google the Ho'oponopono prayer. And for myself, when it comes to forgiving myself and, like, you know, telling myself it's okay, well, actually that's exactly what I do. I have this self-talk, and the self-talk goes something like, it's okay, just chill out, you're a human, so it'll be fine, you know, you're doing enough. So I say things like that, you know, it's okay to speak, like, you know, in terms that you understand and resonate with, because I feel that the words, I forgive myself, it sounds almost like too... Hey guys, sorry, the camera just cut off, so I'm filming the last part of where I had left off. So I left off on tip number 11, and basically I was just talking about my own self-talk, which is just to like find it in your own words to say it's okay and just chill out, you're a human being and you'll be fine. So yeah, so tip 11 is just to like find the words to truly say to yourself that everything's gonna be okay and that you're fine, and you know, find the forgiveness. So, oh, my notes just fell. Okay, so tip number 12 is ask yourself, if I was a self-compassionate person, what would I do? And really think about it. Another question is, who exemplifies self-compassion and how can I emulate them? And you can think of a person that you know, or a celebrity, or a fictional person, but just think about someone who really exemplifies this, and you know, think about like what they would do and emulate that. So another thing is, tip number 13 would be to visualize yourself as your future self. And in the future, you are very self-compassionate towards yourself. You're so much more self-compassionate than how you are today in this moment. And ask yourself, or put yourself in the shoes of your future self, rather, and ask yourself, what were the steps I took to get to this point? And figure out what those steps are, and then do them. So I think those are my 13 tips for cultivating self-compassion. And for a bonus project, I'd like to show you something. It's on my phone. This is the wallpaper on my phone, and it's a picture of me as a kid. And if you really want to take this seriously and give yourself the kind of self-compassion that you know will help you attain the kind of health and body that you want, you know, try out this project. Find a cute picture of yourself as a child, and you know, a picture where you feel joyful to see it. You know, that kid is you, and that kid still is you. You know, you just look a little bit different, but that kid is still you. And I believe, well, at least for me, it's something that helps me. Whenever I see that picture, I feel a little bit joyful, and it's about a picture of myself. So hopefully it'll help you too. And the project would be to just find a picture of yourself and create it as wallpaper on your cell phone. But if you want to take it one step a little bit, not as far, just print out a picture of yourself, or find an old picture of yourself and frame it, or just make sure that you see it every day and you know, feel good from looking at that picture. So I think that's all I got today, and I have so much more stuff on my mind about self-compassion. I actually like created this brainstorm, and I think in the future I'll do a video on creativity and how that applies to health and wellness, because just brainstorming, like more and more ideas will come, and the more creative you are, the more like able your ability to connect where you are to where you want to be. It's basically problem solving, and creativity like creates this ease in problem solving. So I think I'll do a video on that. But yeah, that's all I got today, and thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And oh, also, I keep forgetting that at the end I want to ask people to participate. So if you also have tips for self-compassion, please write them below. If you know a tip and I didn't list it, like, you know, share. And hopefully there's going to be somebody out there who's scrolling down through the comments and like sees a new tip and it helps them, so you'll be helping another person. But okay, I think that's truly it. All my information is down below if you're a self-aware perfectionist like myself, trying to get healthier and happier and wanting to achieve the type of body and health that they dream of. Contact me. I'm a coach and I do free sessions. So okay, that's it. That's truly it. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.